My name is Nicole Carter, and I died with one regret: not losing the scholarship, not losing my chance at Stanford, not even losing the people I thought were my friends. My biggest regret was that I spent my last year of high school protecting someone who never cared if I survived. Emily Parker was the girl everyone loved. She was beautiful, smart, the class president and the person teachers always trusted. Everyone called her ClassBelle because she seemed perfect. But I knew the truth, because I had already lived this life once. And 3 years ago, on the morning of our final college entrance exam, I watched Emily destroy my future. The strangest part? I was the one who tried to save her. "Nicole, wake up!" The familiar voice pulled me out of darkness. I opened my eyes. For several seconds, I just stared at the ceiling. My breathing stopped. This room, this bed, this old alarm clock. Everything was exactly the same. Then I looked at my phone. May 18th, the day of the state examination. The day I lost everything. No. I sat up quickly. My hands were shaking. I remembered this day too clearly. 3 years ago, Emily had told me there was a problem at the exam building. She said someone planned to block the entrance to delay students from entering. She asked me to help her stop it. I believed her. I rushed outside and tried to move the students away from the entrance. But 10 minutes later, the teachers arrived. And Emily suddenly changed her story. "Nicole planned this." Those 4 words destroyed me. Everyone looked at me like I was a criminal. The school investigated. The evidence pointed toward me. My scholarship disappeared. My dream school rejected me. And Emily became the hero who exposed the student who tried to ruin the exam. But now, I was back. And this time I knew everything. My phone buzzed. I already knew who it was. Emily. I stared at her name for a few seconds before answering. "Nicole." Finally. Her voice sounded exactly the same. Sweet. Worried. Fake. "What's wrong?" I asked calmly. "Something terrible is happening. Some students are planning to block the exam entrance. We have to stop them." I closed my eyes. Same words. Same timing. Same trap. In my previous life, I immediately jumped up. I was desperate to help. But this time I stayed in bed. "Nicole, are you there?" "Yes." "Then hurry. We don't have much time." I smiled slightly. "Why?" There was a pause. "What do you mean, why?" "I mean, why should I go?" Her tone changed for a second. Only a second. But I noticed. Because we're classmates. Because this affects everyone. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. The girl staring back at me was 18 years old. Young. Naive. The girl who believed being kind meant everyone would be kind back. Not anymore. Emily. Yeah. If you know someone is planning something, shouldn't you tell a teacher? Another pause. A longer one. I thought we could handle it ourselves. There it was. The first crack. Exactly like before. Emily didn't want adults involved. Because she wasn't trying to stop something. She was trying to create something. "I can't help today," I said. Her voice immediately became colder. "What?" I said, "I can't." "But Nicole, this is important." "Then you should report it." I ended the call. For a few seconds, my room was silent. Then my phone started ringing again. Once, twice, 3 times. I ignored every call because I already knew what would happen next. At 8:15 a.m., Emily would gather students near the exam entrance. At 8:30, the gate would be blocked. At 8:45, teachers would arrive, and Emily would pretend to be the person trying to fix everything. The only difference, this time I wouldn't be standing beside her. I got dressed slowly and walked downstairs. My mother was making breakfast. "Nicole, you're going to be late." I smiled. "I'm not." She looked surprised. "You aren't going to school early?" "No, but today is the biggest exam of your life." I picked up my backpack. "I know." She studied my face. "Are you okay?" I nodded. "I'm better than I've ever been." I didn't explain. How could I? How could I tell her that I had already watched my life fall apart once? How could I explain that I had been given another chance? When I arrived at school, everything was already happening. Students were gathered near the entrance. Teachers were arguing. And in the middle of everyone, Emily Parker stood there, exactly where she had stood 3 years ago. She saw me. Her expression changed. For a moment, she looked nervous. Then she smiled. "Nicole, you're finally here." Everyone turned toward me. A few students whispered, "Isn't she helping Emily?" I thought they were together. Emily walked toward me. "You came late." I looked at her calmly. "No, I came exactly on time." Her smile disappeared slightly. "What does that mean?" I looked past her, at the blocked entrance, at the students standing there, at the chaos she created. Then I said quietly, "It means this time you handle your own problem." Emily froze. "What?" I didn't answer, because I knew something she didn't. The trap she built wasn't for me anymore. It was waiting for her, and this time, I was going to watch her fall into it. Emily Parker always believed she was the smartest person in the room. That was her greatest weakness. She thought because people liked her, they would always believe her. She thought because teachers trusted her, she could control any situation. And most importantly, she thought I would always be there to clean up her mess. But she was wrong. I stood several feet away from the crowd and watched everything unfold. Students were gathered around the main entrance of Westbridge High School. The exam building was right behind the gate, but several people were blocking the way. Some held signs, some shouted about unfair testing policies, and some looked completely confused, like they didn't even know why they were there. Exactly like my previous life, Emily walked through the crowd, pretending to be the only person who could solve the problem. "Everyone, please calm down." Her voice was loud enough for teachers and students nearby to hear. "This exam is important for everyone. We can't let this situation continue." A few students nodded. That was Emily's talent. She always knew how to look like the hero. She didn't need to actually fix problems. She only needed people to believe she was trying. A teacher approached her. "Emily, do you know what's happening here?" She immediately looked worried. "I was trying to figure that out, Mr. Collins. I heard some students plan to block the entrance. But I didn't know it would become this serious." A perfect answer. Not admitting anything. Not denying anything. Just enough to make herself look innocent. 3 years ago, I had believed those words. Today, I only found them ridiculous. My friend, Sarah, noticed me standing alone. She walked over. "Nicole, aren't you going to help?" I looked at her. "Help with what?" She pointed toward Emily. "With this. I thought you two were working together." I shook my head. "No." Sarah frowned. "No. No." She looked confused. "But Emily said you were helping her prepare something this morning." I almost laughed. Of course. Emily had already started creating her story. She needed everyone to think I was involved. That way, if anything went wrong, she had someone to blame. I looked at Sarah. "Did Emily tell you what I was supposed to do?" Sarah hesitated. "Not exactly." "Did she tell you why those students are blocking the entrance?" "No." "Then maybe you should ask her." Sarah looked toward Emily. For the first time, she seemed uncertain. That was the difference between this life and my previous one. Before, everyone accepted Emily's version of events before hearing mine. Now, I wasn't fighting for attention. I was simply letting people notice the truth themselves. A few minutes later, the principal arrived. The crowd became quieter. "Who organized this?" Nobody answered. The principal looked around. Someone must take responsibility. Emily immediately stepped forward. "I can explain what happened." I almost smiled. Of course she would. She loved moments like this. A stage, an audience, a a chance to prove how important she was. I found out some students were planning to protest the exam, Emily said. I tried to stop them, but things got out of control. The principal looked at her. Who told you about this? Emily paused, only for a moment, but everyone saw it. Someone informed me. Who? Another pause. Her eyes moved and landed on me, just like before. I knew what she was going to say before she opened her mouth. Nicole knew about it too. The crowd immediately turned toward me. The old version of me would have panicked. I would have stepped forward. I would have explained everything. I would have begged people to believe me. But this Nicole? She simply stood there. The principal looked at me. Nicole. I calmly answered, yes. Emily said you knew about this situation. I did. Everyone became quiet. Emily smiled. She thought she won. But then I continued. I knew she planned to handle it. Emily's smile disappeared. What? I looked at her. You told me this morning that you knew there was a problem. Her face changed. Nicole, that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. I looked at the principal. She called me this morning and told me students might block the entrance. The principal frowned. She called you? Yes. Emily immediately interrupted. Because I wanted her help. I nodded. Exactly. The students around us started whispering. I continued. But I asked her why she didn't report it to a teacher if she already knew. The principal looked at Emily. Emily's expression became uncomfortable. And what did she say? I answered. She said she thought we could handle it ourselves. The crowd became silent because everyone understood the problem. If Emily really wanted to stop the situation, why did she avoid telling teachers? Why did she gather students instead? Why did she wait until the entrance was blocked? Emily quickly tried to recover. Nicole is misunderstanding. I was just trying to protect everyone. I looked at her. Protect everyone? Yes. Then why did you invite more students here? Her face froze. What? You knew the exam started soon. You knew more people gathering here would make it worse. Emily opened her mouth, but no words came out. Because she couldn't answer, a teacher stepped forward. Emily, did you ask students to come here? No, She stopped. That hesitation was enough. The principal's expression became serious. Everyone move away from the entrance. We will investigate this. The crowd slowly began moving. But Emily stayed still. She looked at me, not like a friend, like an enemy. You knew. Her voice was low. I looked at her. Knew what? You knew this would happen. I smiled. No. I stepped closer. I just stopped saving you from your own choices. Her eyes widened. For the first time, Emily Parker looked afraid, because she realized something. The Nicole she controlled before was gone, and the person standing in front of her now, she didn't know how to defeat her. The bell rang. The exam was about to begin. Everyone rushed inside, but Emily stayed behind for a few seconds. She watched me walk away, and I knew exactly what she was thinking. She wasn't wondering if she would be exposed. She was wondering how to make me take the blame again. The only problem was, this time, I knew every move she was going to make, and I was ready. The exam started 30 minutes late. For most students, it was already a disaster. Everyone was nervous, everyone was angry, and everyone wanted someone to blame. That was exactly what Emily Parker wanted. A situation where emotions were stronger than facts. A situation where she could point at someone and say, it was her. Just like before. The difference was, this time, I wasn't standing in the center of the storm. I was watching it. After the exam ended, the school immediately called a meeting. The principal, several teachers, and the student council members were all there. Emily sat in the front row. Her expression was full of sadness. She looked like someone who had spent the whole day trying to help but was unfairly misunderstood. I almost admired her acting skills. Almost. Today's incident affected hundreds of students. Principal Harris said seriously, "We need to understand exactly what happened." Everyone became quiet. Then Emily raised her hand. "I think I know where we should start." Of course she did. Principal Harris nodded. "Go ahead, Emily." She took a deep breath. "I don't want to accuse anyone without proof." A classic Emily sentence. Whenever she said she didn't want to accuse someone, she was about to accuse them. But I think we need to talk about Nicole. The room immediately changed. Students looked at me, some surprised, some suspicious, some already believing her. Just like 3 years ago, Emily continued. Nicole knew about the situation before anyone else. I didn't react. She expected me to panic. She expected me to interrupt. But I didn't. That made her uncomfortable, because she remembered the old Nicole. The old Nicole would have immediately defended herself. The old Nicole would have made mistakes. The old Nicole would have given Emily exactly what she wanted. "Nicole," Principal Harris said, "is this true?" I nodded. Yes. A few students whispered. I could almost hear their thoughts. She's admitting it? Why would she admit it? Emily looked confident again. See? She knew. I looked at her. I knew because you told me. Her expression changed. Only slightly, but I noticed. The teacher sitting beside her noticed too. "You told Nicole?" Principal Harris asked. Emily quickly answered. "Yes, but only because I wanted her help." I nodded. "That's correct." Emily looked surprised. She didn't expect me to agree. Then I continued. "She asked me to come to the school early." Emily frowned. "That's not true." I looked at Principal Harris. "She called me at 7:10 this morning." The principal looked at his notes. "Can we verify that?" I held up my phone. I saved the call history. The room became quiet. Emily's smile disappeared. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. In her plan, there was no evidence. There was only my reaction. But she forgot one thing. I had already lived this day. I knew every trap. I knew every lie. I knew every question she would ask. Principal Harris looked at Emily. "Why did you call Nicole?" Emily opened her mouth. She looked around, searching for support, but nobody spoke. "I wanted someone I trusted." I almost laughed. Trusted? That word sounded strange coming from her. 3 years ago, she had used the same excuse. "You were my best friend. You were the only person I trusted." Those words had made me ignore every warning sign, but now they meant nothing. I looked at her. "Emily, if you trusted me, why did you tell everyone I was involved?" Her eyes immediately moved away. "I never said you planned it." "No." I nodded. "You didn't say that." I paused. "You just let everyone believe it." The room became silent, because everyone understood the difference. Emily was good at avoiding direct lies. She preferred half-truths. She let people make the conclusion for her. A teacher crossed his arms. "Emily, why didn't you report the situation when you first learned about it?" She looked uncomfortable. "I thought I could solve it by gathering more students." "No, I didn't." "Did you, or did you not ask people to come to the entrance?" She couldn't answer. That was the first time I saw Emily lose control. The girl who always had perfect answers was speechless. Then one student spoke. "Wait." Everyone looked over. It was Jason Miller, one of Emily's closest friends. "Emily, didn't you message us last night saying there would be something important at the entrance?" Emily immediately turned. "Jason, don't make things worse." His face changed. "What?" "You misunderstood." "No, I didn't." Jason took out his phone. "I still have the message." My heart stayed calm, because this was the moment Emily's perfect image started breaking. Principal Harris took the phone. He read the message. Then his expression became colder. Emily. She swallowed. Yes. Why did you tell students to gather at the entrance before the exam? Emily stayed silent. Nobody helped her. Nobody defended her. Because everyone was starting to realize something. The person who claimed she was trying to stop the problem might have been the person who created it. Emily suddenly looked at me. Her eyes were full of anger. Not sadness. Not regret. Anger. Because she knew I was the reason her plan was failing. After the meeting, she followed me into the hallway. Nicole! I stopped. What? She lowered her voice. Why are you doing this? I looked at her. Doing what? You know exactly what. I smiled. No, Emily. I stepped closer. I'm just letting people see what you really are. Her face turned pale. You changed. Yes. I looked at the classroom door. That's what happens when someone gets a second chance. Emily froze. For a second, I thought she understood. But then her expression changed. She wasn't scared anymore. She was angry. Fine. She whispered. If you want to play this game. She smiled. I'll show you who wins. I watched her walk away. And I knew something. Emily Parker wasn't going to give up. She never did. But neither would I. Because this time, I wasn't fighting to prove I was innocent. I was waiting for her to prove she was guilty. Emily Parker was always good at controlling people. She knew exactly what to say. She knew when to cry. She knew when to smile. She knew how to make herself look like the victim even when she was the one holding the knife. That was why in my previous life I lost. Not because she was smarter than me, but because I trusted her. This time I didn't. After the meeting, the entire school started talking about the exam gate incident. Everyone had an opinion. Some people still defended Emily. She was probably just trying to help. Maybe Nicole misunderstood her. Emily has always been a good student. Those were the same people who had blamed me 3 years ago. But now their voices were weaker, because doubt had already entered their minds. And once people started questioning the perfect image Emily built, it was hard to put it back together. The next morning, I arrived at school earlier than usual. Not because I was worried, because I knew Emily would make her next move. She couldn't accept losing control. When I entered the classroom, I immediately noticed something. The room was unusually quiet. Everyone was looking at me. Then Sarah walked over. Nicole. Yeah. She looked uncomfortable. Emily wants to talk to you. I smiled slightly. Where? Outside. I followed her. Emily was standing near the hallway window. She looked different from yesterday. Less confident. More tired. But I knew better. Emily didn't look defeated. She looked like someone preparing another performance. Nicole, she said. I waited. She took a deep breath. I think we need to fix this. Fix this. Another phrase she loved. Because to Emily, problems weren't about truth. They were about making things disappear. What do you mean? She looked at me. I think yesterday was a misunderstanding. I almost laughed. A misunderstanding. Hundreds of students being delayed. The school investigation. Her own messages. All of that was just a misunderstanding. Really? She nodded. Yes, we were friends. There it was. The emotional attack. She wanted me to remember the old relationship. The old Nicole would have softened. She would have thought, maybe Emily made a mistake. Maybe I should forgive her. Not anymore. Friends don't use each other as shields. Her face changed. Only for a second. What are you talking about? You know. No, I don't. I looked directly at her. You needed someone to blame if your plan failed. Emily immediately became defensive. That is a horrible thing to say. Is it? Yes. She stepped closer. I was trying to protect the school. I nodded. Then why did you delete your messages? Her expression froze. What? You deleted the group chat messages after the investigation started. Her eyes widened. How did you know? I didn't answer, because I didn't need to. The truth was simple. In my previous life, I had discovered it too late, after I was already blamed, after my scholarship was gone, after everyone had already decided I was guilty. But this time I saw everything coming. Emily lowered her voice. Nicole, you need to understand something. What? Nobody will believe you if you keep attacking me. That sentence told me everything. She still thought this was about popularity. She still thought whoever had more supporters would win. She was wrong. Emily. What? The truth doesn't need popularity. She laughed quietly. That's cute. Then she leaned closer. But this is high school. People believe what they see. I nodded. Exactly. Her smile faded. What? People are going to see everything. I walked away, but I wasn't finished, because I knew what would happen next. Emily would try to prove she was innocent, and to prove it, she would expose herself. That afternoon, the principal announced another meeting. This time, Emily requested it. She stood in front of teachers and students. I want to clear my name. Everyone listened. She looked confident again. I know some people have questions about me, but I believe the truth will prove that I was only trying to help. Then she turned toward me. Nicole, I hope you will also tell the truth. I almost smiled. She was challenging me. She wanted a public fight. Fine. I accepted. Principal Harris looked at both of us. Emily, what evidence do you have? She took out her phone. I have messages showing that Nicole knew about the situation. The room became quiet. Emily smiled. This was her final weapon. The same weapon she used against me before. She showed screenshots. Messages between us. My replies. Everything looked bad. If I had seen this 3 years ago, I would have panicked. But now, I knew something she didn't. Those screenshots were incomplete. Nicole, Principal Harris said, do you want to explain? I stood up. Yes. Emily smiled. She thought I was trapped. I walked to the front. Those messages are real. Everyone looked surprised. Even Emily. She didn't expect me to admit it. But there is something missing. I looked at the screen. The messages before these. Emily's face changed. What? I turned to Principal Harris. Can I show my phone? He nodded. I connected it. The first message appeared. From Emily. 7:10 a.m. Nicole, come early. We need to make sure the entrance situation happens. The room exploded. What? She said happens. Not stops. Emily's face turned white. No. She immediately stepped forward. That's not what it means. I looked at her calmly. Then explain what it means. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Because she couldn't, the next messages appeared. Emily, don't tell teachers. Emily, if adults get involved, they will ruin everything. Emily, trust me. This will make me look like the person who solved the problem. Silence. Complete silence. The same girl who wanted everyone to believe she was the hero had just revealed she planned the entire thing. Principal Harris looked at her. Emily Parker. Her voice shook. I can explain. But nobody looked at her the same way anymore. Not teachers. Not students. Not even her friends. I watched her carefully, because I knew this wasn't the end. This was only the beginning. Emily had spent years building a perfect image. And today, I watched the first crack appear. She looked at me. Her eyes were full of hatred. But underneath that hatred, there was fear, because she finally understood. The trap she created for me had become the trap that caught her. Emily Parker had spent 3 years building an image. Perfect student, perfect leader, perfect friend. Everyone believed she was the kind of person who could never do anything wrong. But one mistake was enough to destroy everything. Because people don't remember how perfect someone looks. They remember the moment they discover the truth. After the meeting ended, Nobody rushed to comfort Emily. That was the biggest difference from my previous life. Back then, when everyone thought I was responsible, people surrounded her. They told her she was brave. They praised her for exposing me. They said I had ruined her kindness. But now, the hallway was quiet when she walked out. Her friends avoided eye contact. The student council members whispered behind her. Even the teachers who always defended her looked disappointed. I watched from a distance, not because I enjoyed seeing her fall, but because I needed to remind myself. This was the same person who destroyed my future, the same person who watched me lose my scholarship, the same person who smiled while everyone blamed me. Emily stopped suddenly and turned around. Her eyes met mine. For a moment, I saw the old Emily, the girl who used to sit beside me during lunch, the girl who called me her best friend. Then I remembered what she did, and that feeling disappeared. She walked toward me. "Nicole." I didn't answer. She lowered her voice. "Are you happy now?" I looked at her. "What?" "You wanted everyone to hate me." I almost laughed. "No." She frowned. "No. No. I wanted everyone to know the truth." She shook her head. "You think you're different now, but you're not." Ich sagte, "Really?" "Yes." She stepped closer. "You just wanted revenge." I was quiet for a few seconds, because maybe in some way she was right. I did want revenge, but not the kind she thought. I didn't want to destroy her life. I wanted to take back mine. You know what's funny, Emily? What? In my previous life, I spent so much time proving I wasn't a bad person. Her expression changed, but I never asked why you needed me to look like one. She froze. I walked away, because there was nothing else to say. That afternoon, the school released the official investigation results. The announcement was simple. The exam disruption was caused by unauthorized actions from several students. Emily Parker, as the organizer of the Student Council Communication Group, was removed from her position. The school also stated that the students involved would receive disciplinary consequences, but the punishment wasn't what hurt Emily the most. It was the loss of respect. The next day, everything changed. The classroom that once surrounded her became strangely distant. During lunch, the seat beside her was empty. During group discussions, people stopped asking for her opinion. Even the teachers no longer treated her like the future valedictorian. Sarah sat beside me. She looked uncomfortable. "Nicole." "Yeah." "I owe you an apology." I looked at her. "For what?" She sighed. "Because I believed her without listening to you." I didn't say anything. She continued. 3 years ago, I probably would have done the same thing." That sentence surprised me. "What do you mean?" Sarah looked down. "Everyone trusted Emily because she was always the one helping people. We never thought someone like her could lie." I smiled slightly. "That's why it worked." Sarah looked at me. "You really changed." I nodded. "Yes." "Can I ask why?" I looked out the classroom window. "Because I died. Because I lost everything. Because I got a second chance." But I couldn't tell her that. So I just said, "Because I finally realized being kind doesn't mean letting people hurt me." Sarah was quiet. Then she smiled. "I think the new Nicole is scary." I laughed. "Good." Meanwhile, Emily wasn't giving up. I knew her. She wouldn't accept losing. That evening, I received a message. From her. "Nicole, we need to talk." I ignored it. Another message came. "Please." I stared at the screen. The old me would have replied immediately. But this wasn't the old me. After 10 minutes, another message appeared. "I know you think I betrayed you." I looked at those words. Betrayed? That was an interesting choice, because Emily still couldn't admit what she did. She didn't say, "I hurt you. I lied to you. I ruined your future." She said, "You think I betrayed you." Like the problem was my feelings. I put my phone down. Then it rang. "Emily." I answered. "Nicole." Her voice sounded different. Not confident, not proud, desperate. What do you want? I need your help. I almost smiled. There it was. The reason she contacted me. Not because she regretted hurting me. Because she needed something. What kind of help? The scholarship committee. I became quiet. Of course. The scholarship. The same scholarship she helped me lose in my previous life. I heard they are reviewing my application. I said nothing. She continued, if I lose this scholarship, everything is over. I looked at the ceiling. Everything is over. Funny. Those words sounded familiar. Because 3 years ago my everything was over. And she never cared. Nicole, please. Her voice became softer. You know me. You know I didn't mean for this to happen. I closed my eyes. No, Emily. What? I know you. Silence. And that's why I can't help you. Her breathing became heavier. Why? I answered calmly. Because this time, you have to face what you created. She didn't speak. Then she whispered, you really hate me now. I looked at my phone. No. Then what? I just stopped choosing you over myself. I ended the call. For the first time in my life, I felt free, but I also knew something. Emily Parker was not someone who accepted defeat. She had lost her reputation. She had lost her position, but she still had one weapon left. And I knew exactly what it was. Me. Emily Parker disappeared for 3 days. At least, that was what everyone thought. People assumed she was embarrassed. They assumed she finally accepted what happened. They were wrong. I knew Emily better than anyone. When she went quiet, it didn't mean she gave up. It meant she was planning. The old Nicole would have been worried. She would have wondered if Emily was okay. She would have felt guilty. But the new Nicole understood something important. Some people didn't regret hurting you. They only regretted getting caught. On Monday morning, I walked into school and immediately noticed something strange. Everyone was looking at their phones. Whispers followed me through the hallway. Did you see the post? Is it true? Nicole, is that really what happened? I stopped. What are you talking about? Sarah walked toward me quickly. Her expression was serious. Nicole, don't panic. That sentence alone told me everything. Something had happened. She handed me her phone. On the screen was a post from Emily. The title was simple. I made a mistake, but I never wanted to hurt anyone. I almost laughed. Of course. Emily didn't apologize. She performed. The post was full of carefully chosen words. She admitted she made poor decisions. She said she wanted to protect the school. She said she was deeply hurt by someone she trusted. And at the end, she mentioned me. Not directly. Emily was too smart for that. She wrote, sometimes when people feel hurt, they don't just seek justice. They seek revenge. Everyone knew who she meant. Sarah looked angry. She's making it seem like you attacked her. I returned the phone. That's because that's exactly what she wants. But people might believe her. I looked at the screen. A few months ago, that sentence would have terrified me. People might believe her, because they had before, but not anymore. Let them. Sarah stared at me. You're not scared? No. Why? I smiled. Because she already made the same mistake twice. Sarah frowned. What mistake? She thinks controlling the story means controlling the truth. That afternoon, Emily posted another update. This time she included a photo. The two of us together from last year. A picture where we were smiling. The caption said, I miss the friendship we had before everything changed. The comments exploded. Some people felt sorry for her. Some people started questioning me again. Exactly what she wanted. But she forgot one thing. I wasn't the same person anymore. I didn't react emotionally. I didn't argue online. I didn't write a long explanation. I simply waited. Because I knew Emily. She couldn't stop after one move. She always needed the final word. and that would be her mistake. The next day, Emily requested another meeting with the school. This time she brought her parents. I almost smiled when I heard. Of course, when her reputation was damaged, she needed bigger weapons. Her father was a successful businessman. Her mother was a member of the school's parent committee. Emily had always believed connections could solve everything. The meeting started at 3 p.m. Principal Harris looked tired. I hope this conversation can resolve the remaining issues. Emily's mother immediately spoke. My daughter has been treated unfairly. I sat there quietly. Unfairly. That word was becoming popular. Everyone who hurt me suddenly became the victim when consequences arrived. Her father looked at me. Nicole, my daughter told us you have been spreading rumors about her. I looked at him. I haven't. Then why is everyone talking about Emily? I answered calmly, because the truth became public. His expression changed. You need to be careful with your words. I smiled. I am. Emily looked at me. Nicole, I don't understand why you're doing this. I looked at her. Doing what? Destroying me. I shook my head. I'm not destroying you. Then what? You built everything yourself. Nobody spoke. Emily's mother frowned. That's enough. But I continued. She created the exam situation. She deleted messages. She tried to make me take responsibility. Emily immediately interrupted. Those are accusations. I looked at Principal Harris. Do you want me to show the evidence? The room became quiet. Emily's face changed. Because she knew. There was more. I opened my laptop. I didn't show everything during the first meeting. Emily stared at me. What? I looked at her. I wanted to give you a chance. Her breathing became uneven. A chance? Yes. I turned the screen around. The first file appeared. A recording. Not from me. From one of Emily's friends. The room went silent. The recording played. Emily's voice came through. Once the entrance is blocked, everyone will focus on fixing the problem. Nicole will help because she always wants to save people. Another voice asked, what if Nicole tells teachers? Emily laughed. She won't. She trusts me. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Because those words destroyed everything. Not because they were cruel. Because they proved she knew exactly what she was doing. Emily looked at me. Her eyes were red. Where did you get that? I didn't answer. Because the answer didn't matter. The truth was already there. Her father slowly looked away. Her mother stopped defending her. Even Emily realized something. For the first time, her family couldn't save her. After the meeting ended, Emily followed me outside. Nicole! I stopped. She stood there. No friends. No supporters. No perfect smile. Just Emily. I hate you. I looked at her. I know. She laughed bitterly. You don't even deny it? No. Why? I thought about my first life, about everything I lost, about the years I couldn't get back. Then I answered, because you hate me too. She froze. You hated me the moment I stopped being useful. For several seconds she said nothing. Then she whispered, you really became someone else. I turned away. No, I stopped. I just became someone who finally chose herself. And I walked away. Behind me, Emily stayed there, alone. But I knew this wasn't over, because people like Emily didn't lose quietly, and her final move would be the most dangerous one yet. Emily Parker had always believed losing was something that happened to other people, not her. She was the girl who always won. The highest grades, the most popular student, the teacher's favorite, the student everyone expected to succeed. That was why she couldn't accept what was happening. She didn't understand that her downfall wasn't caused by me. It was caused by every choice she made when she thought nobody was watching. For the next week, Emily became quieter. She stopped posting online. She stopped trying to explain herself. Most people thought she had finally given up, but I knew better. Emily wasn't quiet because she accepted the truth. She was quiet because she was searching for another way out. And she found one. Friday afternoon, I received an email from the scholarship committee. My heart immediately tightened, because in my previous life, this was the moment everything changed. The scholarship committee had received an anonymous report claiming I had participated in the exam disruption. That report destroyed my application. I lost my chance at Stanford. I lost the future I had worked for. And the person who submitted that report? Emily. I opened the email. Additional review required regarding the recent examination incident. I stared at the words. It was happening again. But this time, I was ready. I went directly to Principal Harris. He looked surprised when he saw me. Nicole, is something wrong? I placed the email on his desk. I received this. He read it carefully. His expression became serious. An anonymous complaint? Yes. He looked at me. Do you know who submitted it? I was quiet for a moment. Then I answered, yes. His eyes narrowed. Who? Emily Parker. The principal sighed. Nicole, we can't assume without evidence. I know. I nodded. That's why I brought this. I handed him another file. Inside were screenshots, emails, and a timeline. Everything Emily had done. The people she contacted, the messages she deleted, the conversations she thought nobody would ever see. Principal Harris looked through everything. Then he looked at me. How long have you been collecting this? I answered honestly, since I realized she would never stop. He was silent. Then he said, I owe you an apology. I looked at him. For what? For not seeing the truth sooner. That sentence hit harder than I expected, because 3 years ago, I had waited for someone to say that. Anyone, a teacher, a friend, someone, but nobody did. I just nodded. Thank you. That evening, the scholarship committee held another review. Emily was there too. She looked nervous. For the first time, she didn't look like the confident girl everyone admired. She looked like someone who knew the truth was coming. The committee member looked at both of us. We received a report regarding the exam incident. Emily immediately spoke. I believe the report explains what happened. I almost smiled. She couldn't help herself. Even now, she was trying to control the direction. The committee member looked at me. Nicole, do you have anything to add? I stood up. Yes. Emily looked at me. Her eyes were cold. She expected another fight. But I didn't fight. I simply showed the facts. I want to clarify one thing. I looked at the committee. I was accused because someone wanted people to believe I was involved. I paused, but the person who made that accusation was the same person who organized the event. Emily immediately interrupted. That's not true. The committee member raised a hand. Please let her finish. Emily stopped. I continued. The evidence has already been reviewed by the school. I placed the documents down. These messages show that Emily Parker planned the gathering at the entrance. Emily's face became pale. Her father, who had attended the meeting, looked away. She whispered, Nicole. I ignored her. The anonymous report was submitted after the school investigation began. The committee member looked at the documents. Can we verify this? Principal Harris nodded. Yes. The room became silent. Emily finally understood. Her last weapon was gone, because she thought she could rewrite the story, but she forgot. Facts don't care who tells them. After the meeting, Emily followed me outside. This time she didn't yell. She didn't threaten me. She just stood there. I don't understand. I turned around. What? She looked exhausted. I spent so much time trying to prove you were the problem. I said nothing. She laughed softly. But now everyone thinks I'm the problem. I looked at her. Because you were. She looked down. For once, she didn't argue. I thought if I became the best. She stopped. I thought if everyone admired me, nobody could hurt me. Her voice became quieter, but I ruined everything. I didn't answer, because that was the first honest thing she had said in a long time. She looked at me. Did you know this would happen? I paused, a strange question, because the truth was impossible to explain. Yes, I knew, because I had already lived it, but I simply said, I knew you would keep making the same choices. Emily smiled sadly. You're different. Yes. She nodded. I guess I created the person who defeated me. I didn't respond, because maybe that was true. Emily didn't lose because I became stronger. She lost because she underestimated someone she thought she had already controlled. The next morning, the scholarship committee announced their decision. My application was restored. The investigation cleared my name completely. And Emily Parker lost her scholarship recommendation, lost her student leadership record, lost the future she thought was guaranteed. I looked at the announcement on my phone. 3 years ago, I cried when I received the rejection. Today I smiled, not because Emily failed, but because I finally won, not against her, against the version of myself who once believed I deserved to be treated that way. And for the first time, I was ready to move forward. 3 months later, I stood in front of the same school entrance where everything had changed. The same place where I once lost my future. The same place where I once believed one mistake could destroy my entire life. But this time, I wasn't standing there as the girl everyone doubted. I was standing there as the girl who survived. Graduation day arrived. Everyone was wearing the same black gowns. Everyone was taking pictures. Everyone was talking about the future. But for me, it felt different, because I remembered another version of this day. In my previous life, I didn't even want to attend graduation. I had lost my scholarship. I had lost my confidence. I avoided everyone because I was tired of hearing people whisper. I thought my life was over, but I was wrong. It wasn't over. I just hadn't reached the part where it truly began. Nicole. I turned around. Sarah was standing behind me with a smile. Are you ready? I looked at her. For what? Everything. I smiled. That was something I never understood before. The future wasn't something you lost because one person hurt you. It was something you built every day. You know, Sarah said, everyone is still talking about what happened with Emily. I sighed. I thought people would forget by now. They won't. Why? Sarah shrugged. Because it changed everything. I looked toward the school building. Maybe she was right, but not for the reason people thought. Emily's story wasn't important because she fell. It was important because it reminded everyone that appearances could lie. After graduation, I saw Emily for the first time in weeks. She stood near the parking lot, alone. The girl who once had everyone around her now had nobody. For a moment, I wondered if I should walk away. Then she called my name. Nicole. I stopped. She walked toward me slowly. She looked different, not because she changed her appearance, because she no longer carried the confidence she used to have. Congratulations. I nodded. Thank you. She looked at the acceptance letter in my hand. Stanford. Yes. She smiled slightly. You got what you wanted. I looked at her. No. She frowned. What? I got what I earned. She was quiet. Then she nodded. You're right. That answer surprised me, because Emily Parker admitting she was wrong was something I never thought I would see. I used to think you were lucky. I looked at her. Lucky? Yes. She looked down. I thought people liked you because you were harmless. I didn't say anything. She continued, but I was wrong. The wind moved through the parking lot, but neither of us spoke for a few seconds. You were stronger than me. I shook my head. No. Emily looked surprised. No. I wasn't stronger. I looked at her. I was just tired of being weak. She smiled sadly. Maybe that's why I lost. I didn't answer, because maybe she finally understood. Not everything was a competition. Not every person around you was an enemy. And not every victory required someone else to lose. Before she left, Emily stopped. Nicole. Yeah. I'm sorry. Two simple words. Words I had waited years to hear. But, strangely, they didn't feel as powerful as I imagined. Because I no longer needed her apology to move forward. I nodded. Good luck, Emily. She looked surprised. You forgive me? I thought about it. Then I answered. I forgive myself. She didn't understand, but I did. I forgave myself for trusting the wrong person, for ignoring my own feelings, for allowing someone else to decide my worth. That was the real thing I had to overcome. Not Emily, not the school, not the rumors, myself. 1 year later, I was sitting in my dorm room looking through old photos. My first year at Stanford had been everything I dreamed of. I met new friends. I joined research projects. I discovered things I never knew I could do. My life was bigger than the one I thought I lost. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Sarah. Do you ever think about that day? I smiled. I knew exactly what day she meant. The exam gate. The beginning of everything. I replied, sometimes. A few seconds later, she answered, Do you regret not helping Emily? I stared at the message. Interesting question, because the old Nicole would have said yes. She would have thought, maybe I should have saved her. Maybe everything would have been different. But the person I was now knew the truth. I typed, No. Then I added, I regret that I spent so long trying to save someone who was never trying to save me. Sarah replied with a heart. I put down my phone. Outside the window, students were walking across campus. Everyone was chasing their own dreams. Everyone had their own battles. And I realized something. My second chance wasn't given to me so I could destroy Emily Parker. It was given to me so I could finally choose myself. The girl who once stood at that exam gate, afraid of losing everything, was gone. Now I was Nicole Carter, a person who knew her worth. A person who trusted her instincts. A person who understood that sometimes the greatest revenge wasn't watching someone fall. It was rising so high that their actions could never reach you again. And that was the ending I never got the first time. The ending I finally earned. The life I lost became the life I chose.